This is Brendan Lamb of the Blamb Show, and with me here today I've got Bill Dumas, which everybody knows him as the Sausage Sensei. He's arguably the best sausage maker in the world. Everybody, hello, Bill.
Howdy, how y'all doing?
I think everybody's doing pretty good.
Good.
For the most part.
Good.
Yeah, how's your day started so far? I know you had to come in for this.
No, pretty good. Went into the restaurant obviously this morning very early.
What time did you get there?
I got there about 5:30, and kicked the prep wheel down the road. There's always something to do. You know how it is in prep land.
Oh, God, yeah.
So made a bunch of sausage this morning that I pre-prepped yesterday, and then brisket trim and all that kind of good groovy stuff, you know.
How many different kinds of sausage y'all make today?
Right now, I kind of stage things out. My sausage production, whether it's one stick of sausage or 3,000 pounds of sausage, the total process, it takes 3 to 5 days from start to finish. So I'm always having to keep 3 to 5 days of inventory on hand. So with that being said, every day I have some sort of something going on in the prep wheel.
And y'all have walk-ins for that, right?
I do.
Yeah.
We have 800 square feet of dedicated raw meat facility, which is where we process all of our briskets and raw meat and that's sausage.
And that's inside. You're processing inside the walk-in, like
Negative.
You should. Or
I have a controlled area, so we were lucky. If you could have seen where I was making sausage. We have 2 restaurants in our group, which are Liberty Barbecue in Round Rock and Brotherton's Black Iron in Pflugerville.
Yep.
If you could have seen where I was making sausage at Liberty, you were like, how in the hell did you do it? You know.
Next to the pit.
You know. Yeah. Had me making it at Law Barbecue, you know.
Yeah.
So nonetheless, we had a suite that came open and available earlier last year, and we retrofitted it. That's 2 doors down from Brotherton's Black Iron, and it's 800 square feet of dedicated prep space.
Oh, wow. So you're not, I mean, what are you just getting like a wheelbarrow and kind of going back and forth with it, or do you?
Well, the truck comes and, we're trimming briskets for 2 restaurants.
Yeah.
So all of that raw meat trim comes to me. Of course, I order through our supplier, which is Ruffino Meat Service.
A lot of people out here use Ravino.
They do. Little Mikey Ruffino. Yeah. And he has a theme song.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Can you sing it?
And yes, I'll tell you. So whenever I first met Mike at Style Switch, he walked in the back doors my first day of working there, and it was just Lance Kirkpatrick and myself. Yeah. And Mike walks in, and I knew we were going to become instant friends. So now he has the theme song. Whenever he comes in, I'll just go, Little Mikey Ruffino. He loves it.
That's hilarious.
But anyway, so we all the raw meat and supplies come to me, and then we turn them into magical smoked meat delicacies.
Oh, yes, y'all do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. I mean, literally some of the best in the world.
We try, and we hope people like them.
And they do. I don't really get much from anybody saying not one bad thing about your sausage ever. So,
well, I appreciate that. I try to be somewhat humble.
But no, and you are really. I mean, I've known you now for I don't know, 5-6 years at least.
At least,
yeah. And you've never been a braggadocious kind of fella.
I try not to be, but at the same time, my granddad said it's a dumb dog that don't wag its own tail.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you spend enough time doing it, you're doing the right job,
Yeah.
And then you get how many? I know since this last 2 years, it's really taken off. I feel like, I mean, just at least in the social media public eye that I've seen with you, with people, or you do more consulting and doing more traveling to do these classes at these different restaurants and showing people, and even collaborations on the sausage stuff. What made you change to start doing that? Just kind of a switch of scenery, or just you kind of got more people asking about it?
Well, I kind of, in my years in this business, let me back up. I started in this business at a USDA inspected facility, which is Smoky Denmark Smoked Meats.
I do remember that, yes.
Yep, over on the East 5th. That was in the old Wild Wild West days. But nonetheless, that's my background. And when I branched out into the restaurant application of things, off the backside of the food truck, or barbecue truck that we had at Smoky Denmark, whenever I hit Style Switch, it was full tilt boogie, because we were 80 to 100 briskets a day on a busy weekend day. So plus everything else behind it, which was a really good experience. And I love it, you know, and I love the restaurant life and whatnot. But over the years, I've kind of really identified a niche in the market. And that niche in the market, well, obviously is sausage.
Making sausage, yeah.
Excuse me. Yes, it's definitively sausage because there are some restaurants that make their own sausage, but then there's others that don't. But the important thing with sausage is from a restaurant perspective, in order to stay viable, you really have to think about how you're going to recapture some of those protein costs. And when we're talking about proteins that, in the case of brisket, $5 and $6 per pound.
Yeah.
And we're talking about a product where you're on average are losing about 50% by trim and cook, then you really need to be inventive and create another avenue. But sausage has always been that vehicle all the way back to the old world.
Yeah.
There's archaeological evidence, for example, of ancient Philistines making sausage 3,000 years BCE. So
with pork casings and everything too, did they?
I think they were using whatever they had on whatever animal they happened to harvest. Cool. But with that being said, that was all tidbits and scraps. When we fast forward and we're talking about different cultures and different traditions, as it pertains to Central Texas, we're talking about Spanish and Mexican influences as well as Bavarian, be that Czech or German.
Yeah.
So when you meld all those influences together in respect to sausage, that becomes our cultural food history. So we're trying to capture the food cost, and we're trying to live up to our cultural food heritage.
Preserve the history.
Preserve the history. But from an artisanal standpoint, now we get to play Salvador Dali.
Yeah, before, back in the day, they weren't doing these blueberry Gouda, I mean, there might have been, but it wasn't something you see regularly on the menu. It might be someone special for like at Christmas or something for their family, just because they were good at it. But like, there was so many different types of growing up, going to these different meat markets and going to different barbecue restaurants. You had like a cracked black pepper or or the hot gut, and even the hot gut's not even that traditional for like North Texas. It's more of a Central Texas thing. So now how much has changed, with how much you've changed the game with all the different recipes you do, and then all these other guys. Just for like one off the top of my head, up in my area, you got Dane's Craft Barbecue, Dane Weaver.
Oh my gosh,
dude, his sausage right there.
Wow,
he is inventive as hell. As well as Brandon Hurtado. As well as Brandon Hurtado, he does a lot of really crazy cool stuff. But like, have you seen any that shouldn't be made? Not digging anybody else, obviously, but because everybody's got to go through the process of the process of the trial and error and all that. But
sure. I think that really kind of boils down to personal taste. Bratwurst, haggis. No, but that's really traditional kind of stuff that uses a lot of offal. I think anything's pretty much the sky's the limit. Obviously, you stated some really good folks that really make some really good product. But I think it really boils down to understanding the principles behind sausage, because it's exactly like artisanal baking. If you're going to make an artisanal pumpernickel or a rye, then you really have to follow set procedures in respect to your weights and measurements and how you handle the ingredients and product.
You can't just blaze your own trail.
No.
You're not going to have a pumpernickel rye.
That's correct. And with sausage, it's understanding weights and measures with salts, and then the measures of weights and proteins, and then how you handle the product. That dictates its eventual outcome.
And the more ingredients you have inside your sausage, the more complicated it is to not overseason or under, or put something in that doesn't really clash with the other ingredients.
True.
Speaking of, the kitchen sink, everything, you've got a sausage right here that you brought with us, and which is the brisket boudin.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Could you kind of give us a little bit of rundown what's inside that, and then we'll try some of that. I'm waiting.
Yeah. Well, what it is, it's a melding of two cultures. So it's a melding of an Acadiana classic, which is boudin. And we know that from a traditional standpoint, that's very classic all throughout southern Louisiana and southeast Texas. So it's a melding between that culture and ours, Texas barbecue. So we all, as a restaurant, when you're at the block and you're having some things that are on the block that you don't really want to put on the tray, but it can go to a chopped sandwich, right? Or it can go in the beans, or it can find another avenue, which is right here. Cool. So what this is long grain rice. The Trinity, well, not a true Trinity, because the true Holy Trinity of Cajun is celery, bell pepper, and onion. This one is two types of bell pepper, red and green, and then jalapenos, and then of course red onions.
Yeah.
So it's rice, the Trinity, a lot of brisket. In order to keep it moist, we add back into it brisket tallow.
Yeah, that's the hard part with boudin is keeping it moist.
Very hard.
Yeah.
So we add back into it brisket tallow and then quite a bit of seasonings, lots of seasonings that really push it over the cliff.
What do you, I mean, without giving away, obviously, but what kind of seasonings are we talking? Anything over the top that you wouldn't think of that's in there?
No, not really. I try to keep it pretty traditional. I try to think about, irrespective of what dish I'm making, if I'm seasoning the sausage, I think about what it is that's inherent to that dish. In the case of barbecue, this is really just going to be black pepper. It's going to be salt. It may or may not have Lowry's in there, and some garlic, granulated garlic, onion. Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Exactly.
You see where I'm going.
Very, very much. Man, it's just, you know, boudin to me, I've been making sausage for a while, not as long as you have, but for a while, and it's always been so intimidating. You know,
no, it's
but then whenever you start to get into it and all that, it's hard to get the right consistency.
It is.
Yeah, and that's the, you know, my first time I made it, I was like, this is not the right thing. I'm gonna leave this to the professionals. Although in some aspects I am professional, but not when it comes to boudin, that's for sure. Do you make any andouille or anything? Or
I do. Recently, I went to one of our friends, 1701 Barbecue in Beaumont. So that's Blue Broussard and his family and his crew that run the place. They have an interesting story because Blue is a mortician.
Oh, he is? And
he comes from a family of morticians.
Wow.
The Broussard family funeral homes have been in there around the greater Beaumont area. And since about the last turn of the century.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Okay, nonetheless. Yeah. So they just celebrated their 1-year anniversary, and I went down there and slung some sausage for them.
Saw that.
And what it was is I made my own tasso. And tasso in Cajun culture is a cured ham, but it's Acadiana and Creole.
Okay.
And its influence. So it's indicative all over southeast Louisiana. So I cured my own tasso. That's the base, the main vehicle. But then I turned it into what I called crawfish boil in a tube.
Oh.
So it had the tasso as the main vehicle, shrimp, crawfish, corn, new potatoes or red potatoes, and seasoned appropriately as you would proper crawfish boil.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to try it.
Yeah, get in there. So, andouille for sure. My motto is if you can think of any type of composed dish, just think of anything. You can explode it and then put it back together in a tube.
And here we are. That's how you get, you know, going back to Hurtado Barbecue, he's doing a Somali one right now. I would never have thought of that.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't matter what it is. You can think of it and explode it and put it to bed, put it together, reassemble it in a tube. Korean bulgogi, Vietnamese shaken beef, chicken cordon bleu. The list goes on.
What's the wildest one you've tried to put together? It didn't work out.
That did not work out?
Yeah.
You know what? This is going to sound so crazy. A turkey sausage.
Really?
Yeah.
What did you do with it?
Yeah. So I tried to make a turkey sausage that was kind of reminiscent of what Vincel Mayers did over at Taylor Cafe.
Yeah.
And I wasn't happy with it. And sometimes, have you ever had turkey, specifically dark meat turkey, and you're processing and you're going to make it into something, but it really has that really overpowering turkey punch that really is too much?
Yeah. Nothing really masculine, nothing really goes with it.
Yeah, exactly. And that was where that went.
Okay. So you think maybe using like a breast or something would have been?
Yeah, I think if I'm going to tackle that one again and you know what? That sounds so pedestrian, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But sometimes the most simple things are the ones that will humble you.
Right? Because you're over here making this, you know, very, very complicated
thing.
And then the single meat.
Yes. But it's the simple thing that gets you.
Yep.
So I think in retrospect, I'll adjust my fat versus my protein and the type that I use.
And what kind of fat? What kind of fat you putting in there?
Well, I use decal fat. Yeah. That's my primary fat for all of my sausage. Yeah. And it's because I always have a lot of it on hand.
Yeah.
And I like to manipulate the emulsification rates in my sausage, and the emulsification rate on that decopat is somewhere around 40 to 45 degrees Fahrenheit.
That
so
cap.
it kind of caps it.
Yeah.
Yes, bingo.
Absolutely.
You said it.
Very cool. Man, that's very cool. Kind of switching gears a little bit. It's actually completely 180. I know you have a turtle. I saw that you have a turtle.
No,
you don't.
No, but I made a turtle into something though.
I thought you had a turtle friend named Frank.
No, but I did turn a turtle into something.
What'd you do? You made a turtle sausage?
Yes.
No way.
Yes.
What kind of turtle? First off, red ear snapping, or what was it, like a big old box turtle? Or?
No. So down at Dozier's, right?
Yeah.
They had a wild game dinner, right?
Yeah.
And it was Jim Buchanan that hosted it. So we sourced some wild game. So we made a tortoise and hare sausage.
Oh, man.
So it was rabbit and soft shell snapping turtle.
Oh, cool.
All in one. That's probably what you saw.
I think it was. I saw something on Instagram.
And we turned it into it, and we went. I believe we went Nashville hot with that one. No, we didn't. We went gumbo with it.
What one was the Nashville hot?
The Nashville hot. That. Okay.
Another story.
Here we go with the Frank Zappa double entendres. So that was the Puss and Python. So it was a game hen called a poussin or a poussin and python. So it was Puss and Python.
Oh, no way.
And that's the one we did Nashville hot.
What'd you call it again?
The Puss and Python.
The Pusson?
The Pusson, yeah. I can't claim the name to that. John Brotherton did that.
Yeah.
And doesn't that sound like John?
It does, 100%. That's why you two work so good together.
Oh, it's terrible.
I'm actually a little bit disappointed. I really thought you'd have a fedora with you today.
You know what?
I really did.
I know. And here's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
I did.
Now you took it off before you walked in?
No. The damnedest thing happened. So my truck broke down.
Yeah.
The front CB axle went out on it.
Oh, no, sir.
And the hat's in the damn truck, which is at the shop.
Okay.
I know.
I was like, man, I was talking it up to everybody. I was like, man, he's going to come, and he's like this badass guy. He's so interesting.
And here I am looking like I just come off the pit, which I did.
Yeah, which you did. So it's fine. It's even better. If y'all could smell the way this man smells.
I can take off my shirt if you like.
And look right into that camera and do the truffle tuffle or whatever you call it.
No. We're not going to do that. No.
So who do you think right now? I mean, we don't have to keep this on sausage the whole time because I know you've done stuff before Smoky Denmark's. What was really, what brought you into starting to cook sausage? And I mean, it's not just you obviously do all the barbecue, but like what brought you into doing barbecue from what you were doing before, and what were you doing before?
Oh boy, I've done all kinds of crazy things. First off, I'm a Marine Corps vet.
Yes.
So
thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. No, I was a terrible juvenile delinquent. And I had two choices, go down a path of nothing, which leads nowhere, or go into the service. So I chose the service. And the funny thing is the Army recruiters came to the house whenever the old man was not in town. He was a salesman, so he spent a lot of time on the road.
Yeah.
So when he came in from work, Mom told him, hey, the Army recruiters came in and we think this is going to be good for Bill.
Yeah.
And my dad said, like hell. So he drugged me to the Marine Corps recruiter.
He said, if you're going to be in the service.
You're going to be in the service. You're going to the toughest one. So I'll never forget it because in the Army, they were real nice and congenial. The recruiting office was great. It had all these nice posters. And they promised you the world. Yeah. It was awesome. So enter into the Marine Corps recruiting office, and there was a steel government desk, nothing on the walls.
A pissed off guy sitting there.
Yes, it was a gunny with a glass eye that looked in this direction, chain smoking.
Oh, man.
And he promised me nothing. Yeah. He said, if you can make it, you'll be one of us. And that's the classic mantra for the Marine Corps. Well, that's cool
because Army, they're like, yeah, come on in. We'll see where we can fit you in.
Yeah, I'm not the Marine Corps. At the time, fun fact, and this was in the 80s during the height of the Cold War. Yep. At the time, there were less than 150,000 active duty Marines worldwide.
Wow.
I don't know what the numbers are now, but now looking back on it, I'm really glad that I went into the Marine Corps because for lack of a better term, it's almost like a fraternal organization.
Right.
There's like a secret handshake.
Yeah,
when,
right.
when two Marines meet, it means something. And there's that mantra that once a Marine, always a Marine.
Heard that.
And it's very true. I can assure you of that.
Anybody that you come across
Yeah.
that's been a Marine, it's instantly.
It's instant.
Yeah.
And I've met a gentleman 2 years ago that was that served. He was on Iwo Jima.
Wow.
And he didn't. We just talked Marine Corps.
Yeah.
And we talked about our experiences, and he was just as interested to learn about mine as I was his.
Yeah.
So it's just that commonality, and then even me sitting here talking to you.
Yeah.
It's bringing it out internal.
And to remember all those times and your different little experiences.
Yeah, and
and
it
stuff.
kind of changes your inside bearing.
Yeah.
And now I want to. Now I want to go crack some skulls.
Come on, let's do it. You're in the right town for it.
Yeah. So sorry, but I'm a Marine Corps vet, and then I've done a lot of other things, menial jobs or otherwise.
Yeah.
Industrial refrigeration technician.
Okay, bring me in on that one.
So,
that right there.
Yeah. So I wanted to learn a trade.
Yeah.
So I put myself through school and learned a trade. In this case, it was just basic air conditioning and basic nuts and bolts. But I got a job with TD Industries in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and they started me up from whale scum, just low.
Yeah.
You know, here, clean that coil. You know.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And so I worked my way up, and I eventually was a technician for a lot of our large commercial contracts.
Cool.
Mission Tortilla being one of them, American Food Service being another one of them, if I can name names.
Yeah.
And we're talking about maintaining all of their refrigeration equipment, up to and including ammonia systems.
Oh, wow.
So, which uses ammonia as a refrigerant when it's compressed.
And these are mostly walk-ins, or they're just regular
Walk-ins, refrigerated warehouses, you name it.
Wow. So
the whole gamut.
Not like a 3-door fridge or just a regular kitchen fridge or stuff. But okay, you had to go all the way down to
all the way down.
Man.
Yeah.
So that's interesting on its own. You know, I grew up since I was about 12 years old working handyman stuff with my dad. He's a master electrician, master HVAC, master. Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. So that's where I come from as well. And then started when I was 14 working at Texas Roadhouse as a busboy, all that stuff.
And then there's your end.
Yeah, being the end ever since of that. And really haven't even looked back ever until just now, you know, since this pandemic thing. And Ashley and I shut down the restaurant. I didn't know if you knew that.
Yeah, I did know that. And
we were going to open right back up, and then it's just not. It doesn't make sense right now. So there's all these other ways for me to,
of course,
stay in the industry and hang out with my buddies
like this.
Yeah, exactly like this. And then now it gives up more free time to go and do collaborations and go do consultings and go. You know,
I dig it.
I like to say spread the barbecue gospel because everybody knows it's the religion of Texas. You know, for the most part, but there's other places all over, as you know, that do not know anything about this or how it's supposed to be. Is very, you know, objective or subjective. Yeah, it's very, very, you know, it's based on your own liking and your own bringing up and your own environment of what you think is good and what's not. But some of these states that you go to and they say it's barbecue. It's hard to call it barbecue, you know?
Yeah, well, believe me, I know. Trust me, I know. But
who do you think? Go ahead.
No, back to the other. And then I was from a refrigeration technician. I was an over-the-road truck driver.
Okay. Man, that right there takes some dedication.
Yeah, it was. But this was the days before GPS and before any of that other mishmash. So they gave you, here, go pick up this load in Bronx, Hunts Point, the Bronx, and good luck. Yeah. And you had to use your wits, a payphone, a CB radio. Wow. And that's how you got around. In fact, I was in New York. I had dropped off a load of air conditioners in Brooklyn 2 days prior to 9/11. Oh, no way. Yeah. So I came across the GW at 0200 in the morning and then landed on my drop, which was in Brooklyn. Yeah. I dropped at about 8 o'clock in the morning and then made my way across over to Long Island City, picked up my next load. But I remember distinctly in Brooklyn talking on the payphone, looking across and seeing the double towers. And I remember commenting and saying, oh, look, it's the World Trade Center, because that was iconic. And nobody really gets to see that. You know, I mean, it's not something you think of all the time. And it was something everybody took, For
kind
granted.
of took it for granted. That's the word. You know, that cityscape that everybody go and took a picture in front of the, you know, the river and see the all the towers and was that Lower Manhattan in front of everybody.
Yep.
And now it's
No, that's a big hole.
That's a big hole.
I left there and I dropped a load in Cookeville, Tennessee, which was the next day, and then made my way to Dallas. And I remember I normally turn my CB radio off so I could go to sleep, but for some reason I was too tired and left it on. And the chatter on the CB is what woke me up, and they were talking about all the goings on in the world and who done it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, what the hell? So I started listening more acutely, and only to discover that it was the Twin Towers that went down, and I was just there.
Wow. I was in 7th grade in choir class when that happened.
Yeah.
7th grade.
Wow, ain't that something?
Yeah, you're in the middle of a full grown man career.
Hey man, it's all perspectives.
It
you
is.
know?
I remember the day. That was crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, and to know that you were there right before then.
Yeah.
Like right before that happened. I mean,
yeah.
it could have been the next day.
Hey, who knows? You know, I would have been
stuck there.
trapped there, you know, for who knows how long. The world's gone a little bit more sideways since then, but I digress.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, quite a bit. But in respect to barbecue, you know, you just touched on something about consulting and spreading the gospel. The curious thing is about Texas barbecue, and we all know that it's part of our cultural food history as far as Central Texas is concerned. The state's huge. It's divided up into separate regions. But as far as Texas barbecue is concerned, and it becoming regional and then thus becoming global, I think what we're looking at is a distillation of different processes. And that distillation put us to something that is very artisanal, right?
Rather than traditional.
Yeah. So I think this actually has the market and has everything is went in that direction. I think you can kind of attribute that to, well, John Miller, of course, and then probably, not probably, Aaron Franklin for those two directions.
R.I.P. John Miller.
Pardon?
So R.I.P. John Miller.
Yes. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
So I can remember going to John Miller's brick and mortar.
In Georgetown or in Office 6?
Off of Manor.
Oh, off of Manor. That's before, That's
That
before
was
me.
back in 2003.
Yeah.
And getting my mind blown because I've been a customer of Louis Miller's since the late 1980s when Fred Fontaine, who had worked there for 40 years, was still there.
Yeah.
My very first experience at Louis Miller was probably in 89, and walking in, it was Bobby and Fred Fontaine. But I digress. So that was always my benchmark as far as classic Central Texas barbecue is concerned. So whenever I heard that John Miller, who I didn't know from Adam at the time, had opened a brick and mortar on East Manor, and this would have been in 2003, and getting my mind blown because it was every bit as good as what was coming out of Louis Miller.
Yeah.
But with a different twist on it.
Because he had a different cooking technique.
A different cooking technique, which was really hot and fast.
Very hot.
Very hot and fast. But whenever he reopened on, speaking of John Lewis, whenever he finally did reemerge after several different incarnations over on South First, I was a regular customer there too. You better believe it. The brisket, the cheesy squash, the au jus sauce.
I heard about the cheesy squash. I never got to.
I got the recipe.
Okay.
We'll hook up later. But anyway, he had I'd been a religious customer there, and then all of a sudden one day I went there, and there was a completely different crew there. There was this guy, you know, taking orders, you know, in the window who I'd never seen there before. Real skinny, very studious with glasses. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? It was John Lewis.
Oh, yeah.
And then a week later, it was La Barbecue.
That's great. Have you been up to this new spot in Charleston? It's not new now, but
no, I've not.
Lewis Barbecue out there?
I've not. But I keep meaning to, and I just, you know how it is.
Yeah. Oh man, busy as hell. You're one of the busiest men in this industry right now. You're running two restaurants.
You know how it is.
Yeah. No, but his setup over there is really, really, really cool, and it's really broad open. You know, the feeling of Austin and this like the Central Texas, what Austin when it's turned into. He brought that to Charleston for like big time. The whole feel of his whole pit house or smoke room and the whole restaurant itself, and then he's got double lines going up to for cutting for service.
Double,
the pass through shams. You know. know.
Perfect.
Oh God, it's awesome.
Oh wow, pass through.
Pass through. So they're in the back. They got a door in the back, and then it's into the wall, and then so the people in the back can unload from the pit room and go and load it in the sham, and then whoever's serving can open up the other side.
Why didn't I think of that?
Right? Yeah, I think they're a little more expensive than just a regular office sham.
Yeah, they probably are.
Yeah. Man, so who you looking up to right now in the industry? Who you being like, man, they're fucking killing it.
Man, there's this guy. His name is Brendan Lamb.
Don't even rest on me. I appreciate that.
No, man. I don't know. The thing about it is, and I think Daniel Vaughn really touched on it with this last top 50 about a new generation of very young people in the industry.
Oh yeah.
But don't be fooled. The number one on there, these guys, even though they're in their mid-20s or so, they've been around.
Oh yeah, I've worked with most of them. Yeah.
Like Lane, come on, man.
Yeah.
Friedman's, Law Barbecue.
Yeah,
Yes.
and Craft Meats, and
So,
and then you get Johnny from Franklin's, and he was at La Barbecue too for a little bit, and then Dylan, which I don't know if Dylan's cooking there anymore, but
I don't know. I hadn't heard from you.
Oh, he's living the life in Colorado in the mountains, I think, is what I've heard.
That bastard.
I know. I want to go be a cowboy in Colorado.
But I think that's what it is. I think there's a new generation, and this really makes me happy.
Yeah.
Because there's a new generation of folks out there that are putting their own twist on it and really pushing the envelope of what barbecue could be defined as. And I really have a whole lot of respect for that. So I would say there's quite a few people, if we're just talking about the top 50 that are on that list, that I have quite a bit of mad respect for.
Good.
That are really doing things that are really ingenious. And I'll tell you what, Interstellar, okay.
Yes.
But don't be fooled, because John Bates has been around a long time.
Yeah.
And Noble Pig, come on now. That place was incredible.
Right.
So they've been doing some really cool things. And not only that, but if you look at it from a global perspective, hell, I was in Perth back in 2019, and I'm telling you that those guys...
You in a class or something?
No, I was flown down there along with Harry Sue. Yeah. And then there's another guy, his name is Chef Philip Dale, who was a chop champion and a lot of other things with the Food Network.
Yeah.
So we were all down there working. There was a big barbecue festival in Perth at Ascot Racecourse.
How cool is that? So,
yeah, it was really cool. So there's a horror story in there. But
hey, that's what we're here for.
I'm going to tell you. So, I was flown down there with those guys, and I did a big VIP dinner for a lot of people but I say all that because what the guys down there are doing in respect of what Texas barbecue is on their own terms is incredible. Because they're having to overcome a lot of different things that we don't have to think about.
Their meat, even stock that they have out there, their cattle, everything is nowhere near ours.
Yeah, they butcher at a lighter weight with a different butchery system and woods and so on and so forth. But the thing about it is we're very lucky here in the state of Texas, because what is clearly defined as ours has spread global. But I guess the same thing can be said for a lot of different things in life. And culture and arts. Yeah. What was clearly a defined, uniquely American musical experience, two things come to mind, which is definitively ours. Yeah. That's blues and barbecue, of course, but from a musical standpoint, blues and country music. Yeah. And now those two things have gone global, and there's a whole history to explain why they are uniquely American. But now you think about all the musicians that have reapplied those techniques and exploded it and put it back together in the bar.
Found a whole new market,
and found a whole new market. Well, the same thing's happening with barbecue and really pushing that envelope. So a lot of these people on that list with Goldies, with Interstellar, and the like, they're really pushing those boundaries, and I really like to see that, because those are the things that inspire me to do some things that are unique in tube form, because it's twofold. It plays into that artistical sense, which you
obviously are.
Well, I can create that and make it better, but it also kind of feeds into a little bit of ego. Like I can do that better than him.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
Well, that's cool as it comes, because I mean, there's so many people that are so much better than me that I learn from on a daily basis and learn new little techniques and whatnot. And just for somebody like you to be humble enough to come in and obviously everybody knows that you're the sausage guy. Your sausage, it's in the name, the sausage sensei. You know, everybody knows. So there's a bar that's been set, you know, and then all these other guys, they're even looking at the bar or not. You know, they're coming in and they're kicking ass and they're being creative and they're bringing in this new generation of barbecue. And so what I remember when I was on the Food Network show, they called it one of the challenges. They called it elevated barbecue.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, so they wanted to take just regular old barbecue that we did, and then how do we step it up a notch? And that's something that, like, you know, Leroy and Lewis,
Bingo.
They're taking this barbecue and even CM Smokehouse. They're elevating it to this new level to where you can still get, you know, your traditional brisket, your beef ribs, your hot gut sausage, you know, all that stuff. But then they're pushing the boundaries to be able to go and be a little bit more inventive. And dude, that's where, like, you have shined so much. Like, everybody, you're great with your traditional barbecue, but then you're able to come in and do these things that people are not used to and still make make it to where they are, you know, excited to try it because the track record. And that, you know,
that's what we try to do.
It says something.
But the thing about it is, you know, when you step on stage with other people like yourself, you know, well, the last place I saw you was at Troubadour.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Which is fun.
There you go. But the thing about it is, when you step on that stage, right, and you have all these people that are your peers, then there's that sense of, well, what's Brendan doing over there? What's Dane over there? doing? Oh man, I should have thought of that.
Exactly.
Or, I'm going to pick that up. I'm going to use that. And then, you know, it's that whole thing.
It pushes everybody to do better.
Bingo. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. So with that in mind, it's just raising that bar higher and higher and higher.
And we're going to continue to jump it.
Oh, yeah. Or do the limbo. I don't know which.
Limbo in my case.
In my case. I don't know.
I don't bend that well anymore.
Neither do I. I don't. If I get down there, I'm not getting back up.
Yeah. So do you like making the sausage? How's and you do it because you do the education side of it.
Yep.
Would you rather be in the room by yourself making sausage, or you rather be teaching somebody how to do it?
I'll tell you what. Here's what gives me a lot of pride.
Yeah. For
the last year and a half, and working on 2 years now, during the height of all this COVID, during the shutdown, I was talking to a fellow that you and I both know, and that's Max Maruchupar.
Oh, yeah.
Texarkana Barbecue.
Texarkana Barbecue.
So Max had some downtime in his consulting gigs, and we were just talking, and he came in and made a video with me about sausage. And he said, oh, you should maybe do some sausage classes. Yeah. You know? That's how Max talks.
Yeah, it is. And that's how it started?
Yeah, that's how it started. So Max shot the video, and I'm like, oh, what the hell? Yeah. So I put it out there, and I started making these sausage classes available for people. I found, and to answer your question, that this level of mentorship, for lack of a better term, really speaks to me. Yeah. It really does, because I'm able to access parts of my brain and use some of this information that would just otherwise be sitting there for my own entertainment, and actually giving it to people that can actually use it where the rubber hits the road. And there's a little bit of boasting and pride. A full 10% of the Texas Monthly Top 50 list came through my doors to, I'm not going to name any names.
No, for sure.
My man. But I'm just saying. But I'm not trying to say that from an egotistical standpoint. I'm just saying that sausage making has that niche, has for me become really inspirational. And the inspiration not just comes from creating unique and different things, and for which there is a lot of inspiration and pride in that, but that level of mentorship and seeing people take the knowledge that I'm able to give to them and then taking the ball and running with it and making it their own. A very wise man told me that if you take one thing from somebody, right, in this industry, by the way, and start using, people say, hey, that's so-and-so.
Oh, God,
right? But if you take 5 different or 10 different things and make it your own, then you're a genius.
And that's crazy, because it's really all recycling. when it
Yes.
comes down to it.
Yeah, yes, it is. But I kind of liken it to this.
Yeah.
For people that are musically minded. You ever heard of the band the Yardbirds?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
What guitar players came out of the band?
Yeah.
Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page, and Eric Clapton. They all came out of that band.
Wow.
At different times.
Yeah.
And do they play alike? No.
Not at all.
They don't. Do they have their own unique sound? Yes, they do. But is it all of that based on 12-bar blues?
Yes.
Yes.
Every single time.
Every bit of it.
Wow.
So all I'm doing is providing people with the groundwork and the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s and how things properly work together. And then it's up to them to make it their own individual stamp. And that is where I really, really enjoy things.
You're teaching them the 12 bars.
I'm teaching them the 12 bars.
And they're taking their own Fender or Stradic, whatever.
Yeah. They're going to go from Muddy Waters to God knows what.
Man, see, that's cool as hell. I like all that a whole lot.
I do.
And that kind of touches on history a little bit. I'm such a history dude myself. And
See, I didn't know that about you.
I know, and me and you haven't got the chance to talk a whole bunch outside of the barbecue stuff on that, but I've always heard other people that had conversations with you on how much you're a history buff. And then if you follow the Sausage Sensei on Instagram, you will see
that sausage _ Sensei.
You will see that this man is a huge history buff and lots and lots of very interesting things. What was that? The last one you posted? It was about.
That's too much, probably.
Right? But when it comes down to it, you do not want to start doing something without knowing what's going to happen. And what I mean by that is, if you don't know history, you're doomed to repeat yourself. And that's a lot of that is happening right now in society. And it's
yes,
it's a whole nother show to get into.
Oh, it is.
But it's literally people not being ignorant. Ignorant is willfully, they're willfully ignorant in what our history is. And not only barbecue, but in America and the world, and to now create their own narrative.
Definitively. And I think a lot of that, now I'm going to sound, some people may say I sound a little crazy, but I think a lot of this is by design and purpose, in which to dumb down the greater populace. Yeah. And by dumbing them down, you can exert a lot of control over them and manipulate them. Yeah. And that's done from a political side. And it's also done from a lot of people. Sorry, but it's also done from a lot of people in the social media platforms as well. Yeah. And I think a lot of it is rather nefarious. And I think a lot of it is,
You're not wrong at all, and I don't think it's any kind of secret that there's some nefarious stuff going on with some bad actors. Without getting into specific instances or anything, you can see the change in society over the past even 5 years, even go back 10 years, even 20 years. It's been it's a completely different world than it was yesterday. Oh yeah, it's exciting, but at the same time, look at it this way: would you rather live in a time where nothing's happening and you are just sitting there, for your whole life? Nothing interesting happens. No. Or are you going to, this is the most interesting timeline I think we can live in for modern human history.
Yeah. I think there is some wisdom to that. Yeah. You can also take that and backtrack it 70, 75 years ago to the World War II era as well. But there again, media wasn't what it is today.
And that comes from the social media thing that everybody's really stuck on. I mean, including myself, I'm on it a lot. And then for this industry, the barbecue industry, that's, Instagram, all of them, all the way across. But Instagram for our industry, for the barbecue thing, is really the biggest.
Yep. It is. And the thing about it is, like Coach Royal said, UT, you have to dance with the one who brung you. Uh-huh. And by goodness, that's true. So, yes, you're absolutely correct. For our industry, in order to remain viable. I mean, we don't have printed newspaper is a thing of the past. Are the yellow pages. When's the last time you picked up a landline and dialed the number?
It's been a while.
Or got an operator on
since
the phone.
I was in like 7th grade, maybe 8th grade.
So exactly. So we have to dance with the one that brung you, and what that is electronic media. And the instantaneous nature of electronic media means that worldwide, the worldview is shrunk So I can talk to someone in Istanbul right now. And we can have a lot of things in common, right? Even though they're in Istanbul and here I am. But because that worldview is shrunk, but it's a double-edged sword. By the shrinking of the world, we also kind of
dumbed it down.
Yes.
Because now they can just see right here.
Yeah.
You can just see right here. And I mean, it might be an Istanbul that you're looking at through this window.
Yeah.
But it's still through
that prism.
This prism that is not what the reality really is.
Yes. And not only that, but let's not discount the fact that different media platforms are censoring quite a few things and eliminating what I term to be critical thought.
Yeah.
So with the elimination of any type of critical thought, you're actually making society more ignorant. And it's not usually, and I don't want this to sound bad, but it's not someone that's ignorant that is going to 9 times out of 10 really seek the truth and the light.
Yeah, because they're ignorant because they don't want to look for that.
Exactly. And water itself follows the path of least resistance. So does human nature. And so with that in mind, I think that we're at a very strange period in time. And I don't know exactly where things are going to lay, but it is a very interesting time.
Yeah. But, when it comes to the path of least resistance and going with the grain and stuff, that's where I'm very excited that I do go against the grain.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I go against the grain as well. I'm a little bit older generation. I can remember, all kinds of things. I won't bore you with that, but it's just, I don't know. Every day seems like there's something interesting. I'll just say that
you would never have thought about last year or even last month. Yeah,
but at the same time, I'm seeing earmarks. Little things that say, well, that's what happened during the Bolshevik Revolution. Well, that's what happened during Joseph Goebbels and whatever he was talking about during that.
And that's where people are messing up because they're willfully not looking back to history to see these comparisons. And they're just getting ran over by it now because whatever powers that be are counting on our ignorance.
And what that is that is from a political standpoint, that is just pure power and control. In the same respect that the Bolsheviks got twisted, and that power and control was condensed into one person, which was Stalin. Yeah. And I'm not saying that it's a direct comparison, but certainly not.
It's got its parallels. Yeah.
But there's the parallels that are identifying
and that are scary.
And that are scary. Yeah. And it just kind of goes back to any time in history, wherever you were globally, just keeping as well informed as you can, as well prepared as you can, and keeping your head on a swivel.
Yeah. Dan, Bill, it's been awesome talking to you, dude. It's been awesome talking to you.
I could go on.
I know I could too. We could too. I just it's another show, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely, for sure. But
I really enjoyed having you on, and I look forward to the next one because I want to do what we're going to do is end up doing some more cooking. So I'll be bringing my pit out to you, and let's get something going here.
Yeah, with that in mind. As I mentioned, I've been doing these sausage classes, and I'm currently booked now all the way through the beginning of 2023. So
congratulations, man! Yes.
So I've got 52 weeks of sausage classes, ding, ding, all through the year. I just say that to plant a seed.
Yeah.
And so you're cordially invited to roll up at any one of those sausage classes and throw in shadow. Yeah. Contribute, whatever your comfort level is, all of that. And also another seed I want to also to throw out there too is I'm looking for people to collaborate with. So
y'all give them a call. This is really one of the best in the industry right here.
February 5th, I'm doing a collab with Nomad Barbecue.
Yes.
So
that's gonna be a fun one.
Hey, that's gonna be.
I saw the graphics for that one too. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's gonna be so we're doing a 5-course meal all in tube form, from soup to dessert.
Wait, soup?
Yeah. So
tell me how. Look, walk through this real fast.
Yes.
1 second.
So it's course.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Remember I told you sausage can be anything. Well, it can. So soup course, I have to look at my notes again, but just to make sure I'm on the right track and remembering things correctly, it's going to be a beef pho soup, right? With a dipping sauce, and I can't remember with the dipping sauce. I think it's a bun bo hue, but it's a dipping sauce, but it's a pho sausage, and then we go to appetizer sausage, which is a tomato bruschetta with pesto. Right. So
see, this is the intuitive, inventive stuff that just is like blowing people out the water.
That's appetizer, and then we have 2 entrees, and the entrees I believe are going to be a Korean bulgogi sausage. Then we have a chicken vindaloo sausage.
Yeah,
those are the 2 entrees, and then the dessert sausage will be a candied pecan bourbon sausage. So we're going to course it all out. There's no tickets, so you just roll up and we'll course it all out. Brotherton's Black Iron Barbecue. So that's Nomad. That's collaboration number 1.
What day is that? Do you know?
February 5th.
February 5th. Okay.
And then the next one I'm working with Brad Fee down at Big Thicket.
Yeah.
So we're working on. I don't have a date on that yet. Jack's Smokehouse in Monroe, Louisiana. That's coming up. And then also I'm working with Danny Castillo.
Oh, at Heritage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Out at Heritage. And I'm going to try and segue that in to do something with Harry Sue when I'm in Pomona, as well as with Moose Craft Barbecue.
Oh, yeah. Andrew and
Munoz.
Yeah, I forget his wife's name.
Yeah, I know. I'm terrible.
Me too. I'm so bad at it.
Yeah. But anyway, collabs, yes.
Cool,
and,
man.
And I say all that because,
I've got time now, man.
Yeah. Well, let's put something on the calendar.
Let's make it work, my man.
Yep.
Thank you so much, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And thanks for bringing the sausage out. And y'all don't forget to follow Sausage Sensei on Instagram and keep up with him.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate y'all.